CS2 has been officially released for 1 year. Today we're going to be breaking down everything, starting off with the agent market. Now the agent market is the hottest thing right now. I'm sure you've seen it in my past videos, but nearly every agent is up a very significant amount year over year, but especially when we're talking about the past month, a lot of them have absolutely exploded, and it's absolutely insane what's been going on inside this area, obviously fueled by the fact that we haven't seen an operation among so many other factors. Now it's definitely a very precarious situation because obviously we have seen this massive growth, and we do definitely think that it is possible to continue, but it's not guaranteed. And I want to make that very clear that there's a very similar trend we see in many areas where things run up very quickly, especially because we have no new content coming into the game right now. Everyone is looking at the agent market, which is not necessarily the greatest thing. A lot of people are going to be selling. A lot of people think there's some potential outside influence causing this, and when we look at graphs like this, it's very obvious as to see why. I don't necessarily think it's going to be the worst idea if you're trying to sell during this period, just because if you're trying to lock in some gains, the agent market is definitely not going to increase indefinitely, in my personal opinion. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're giving you a $10 bonus with code MasterShiny just to try them out. They're my go-to selling spot with the highest rate for sellers, and it's super easy to use. They're going to be currently the best option, paying over 100% when you use that $10 bonus. They're super trusted when it comes to transactions, and it took me just about 2 minutes for me to get my over $200 from this Emerald Jormungandr. They've got tons of different payout options, and they're also going to be having a super low fee buyers marketplace. It's super easy, tons of deals cheaper than Steam, and tons of different deposit options. This deal won't last forever. Make sure you check them out today with that top link in the description. Now moving back to the overall concept of the video, we're going to be looking at 1 year graphs and seeing exactly what happened. Rare cases are the perfect area to start off with. Talking about our cheaper rare cases, something like the Prisma 2 right here, we can see that over the past year, honestly, I've been very disappointed by this growth. It hasn't really been seeing too much. Obviously, it started at about an 80-cent price point, and now we're looking at maybe around 90-ish cents. I definitely think there's so much potential left on the table when we're talking about cheaper rare cases specifically. These are going to be your ones that are sitting under $1 right now that we've talked about, have good unboxings, not a crazy supply. There's so many cases out there that fit this criteria, and right now I definitely think there's a decent chance that you could hop onto one of these, and as soon as we see a lot of hype move into this area, I think they're going to be benefiting significantly more than some of these other cases we're going to talk about in a second. Now talking about some of the older rare cases, these are going to be your Wildfires, your Gammas, your Revolvers. You're going to be seeing them in the background, you'll understand, but the biggest thing around this area is the fact that they're coming in at such an expensive price point. Most of the cheaper rare cases are going to be under $1 or at $1 maximum. Here for your more expensive rare cases in the investment category here, you're going to be looking at a minimum of $2, but mostly around that $2.50 to $3 range. That's really expensive, and that's a lot of opportunity costs you're going to be sticking into one specific case, and therefore we definitely need to make sure we're doing this smart and doing this strategically if we're trying to make an investment inside this area. In my personal opinion, I think this is a great hedge when we're talking about the overall case market because these things do not move very much. If you want to look at something like this, you can see that they have a significantly less volatility rating, but I definitely don't think they're going to be the best investment for you to stick all of your money into. I would say overall, these are something I have a decent amount of, but I'm not buying more right now. I don't think there's really too much of an incentive. Now looking at the 1 year of sticker capsules, unfortunately, this is going to be an area that has nearly disappeared in terms of profitability. If we want to talk about something like Stockholm, obviously Stockholm was a very strong capsule when it came out, and obviously it had a ton of demand behind it, but if we want to look at the 1 year, we can obviously see they have been struggling, and that's not the fault of their own. That's going to be the fact that they had Antwerp after them, but more importantly, they had Paris and Copenhagen, which just absolutely destroyed the market. Talking about Antwerp, I definitely say if you're going to be making an investment into this area, Antwerp is the capsule I personally look at, specifically the contenders. I definitely do see some potential inside of this area, but the biggest thing is when we're talking about Paris, when we're talking about Copenhagen, these two capsules right here are definitely going to be the reason why this whole area is destroyed and why we've seen it continue to be a relatively speaking not great investment. Obviously, these capsules are so plentiful out there. There's so much supply, and the fact that they're sitting at 13 to 15 cents for a Paris capsule in today's age, we're all about investments. The fact that someone hasn't picked up a million of these, and we just overall see this area unfortunately just caving in on itself, and I don't think that's necessarily going to be anything changing moving forward. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be an area you need to stick away from, in my personal opinion, unless you've got a super high risk tolerance. Now talking about collection skins over the past year, it's definitely been an area that I think a lot of people are really getting into. Obviously, we had Operation Riptide, and that brought in a whole new wave of operation skins and collection skins that people really wanted to make an investment into. Unfortunately, a lot of them, for them, didn't really do so in a time span that was reasonable, and therefore we're in the situation where we are now, where a lot of people are looking at collection skins at a super expensive price point and still trying to make consistent investments into them. And that's not necessarily the worst thing, because with the thing we know about collection skins, they're always going to be decreasing in supply. No more of them are going to be created, but in the current market, I don't necessarily know if that's going to be your smartest investment. I definitely really love collection skins as an investment because they've hit all the criteria that I'm personally looking for, but I don't know if that's going to be specifically the best investment for you to make right now, especially moving into the next year of CS2. If we see a new operation, a lot of the interest is going to be moving away from these collection skins onto those new collection skins, and I don't necessarily know know if there's going to be enough demand, especially in the short term, for you to make up a pretty hefty initial investment you're going to be having to put up. A lot of these collection skins are no longer cheap. You're going to be looking at potentially $4 or $5 for a gray skin, which is absolutely insane, and I don't know necessarily if it's the best opportunity cost in the current market. Now here's where things get interesting. Coming on into the active duty, it's a little bit different because obviously we can't look at the 1 year necessarily. I definitely think inside of this area it's going to be very interesting moving forward for the next couple of months. I think in the next 2 to 3 months we're going to be seeing either an operation or a brand new case. With a brand new case comes the opportunity for one of these active duty cases to get kicked out. It's really going to be coming down to either the fracture or the recoil case. The other three are just kind of off the table. I don't think necessarily in the current market it's a terrible idea to make an investment into these at the right price point. I don't think right now is really the right price point though. A lot of people have been looking at these active duty cases for an investment. We can look at what happened with the snakebite and the clutch case. I mentioned those time and time again because it's very easy to see what happened with them. They shot up and they lost all that value. It happens consistently. I don't think right now is the strongest price point for this type of investment. Now speaking on the terms of next updates that are going to be coming into CS2, obviously I would love to say it's an operation. We're going to be talking about that in a quick second. The next guaranteed thing is going to be the Shanghai Major coming in just over a month and a half. We're going to be starting to see everything inside of this area. Now if you've watched my channel for a bit, you've known that I've been a very interested person in the Shanghai Major, specifically talking about what teams are going to be making it, if they've got bordered or borderless stickers out there already, and a lot of different smaller things about the Shanghai Major. That's very important for me as an investor because I'm going to be making specific decisions based off that. But the overall market is significantly different. In fact, the overall market doesn't really care about those teams that much. They care about one specific thing, and that's going to be seeing if there's a bordered or a borderless sticker here for Shanghai. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be potentially making an investment here, but it really comes down to one of two things. If we see a borderless sticker, a lot of those other capsules that are borderless are probably going to end up dropping even more, which is absolutely insane because they're so cheap already. If we see a bordered sticker, a lot of people would expect those to absolutely explode, but that's probably not going to be the case. They might see a little bit of a short-term peak, but I don't think we're going to be seeing honestly much growth happen inside of this area. Overall, the sticker market right now is not in a good position. It's almost like a lose or tie situation. Talking about filler skins moving into the next stage, I don't necessarily know if it's once again going to be the smartest move. A lot of filler skins are really on a pretty sad trajectory over the past year. I mean, you can see they have lost so much value. It's absolutely insane. Coming down to the fact that obviously we are in a new drop system compared to the old previous one that we saw for many operations. Therefore, it's really hard to get good data if even an operation would go ahead and save a massive profit inside of this area. I don't think it's going to be a bad investment as long as you can get in at a cheapest price point. People are always going to be using filler skins, but it's probably going to be a little bit more risky than I think a lot of people realize. Now, what specifically am I doing right now? I think the first most important thing is have some cash on hand. You don't want to be forced to sell off at a super cheap price point if for some reason they do drop some sort of major update. Otherwise, staying active on Twitter is going to be giving you a huge advantage whenever they release their tweet. And finally, make sure you're still investing into items that you think have long-term potential. Don't just be looking at the next week or two. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.